republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
We have Mr. Barber, we have Mr. Langley, we have Mr. Irwin, we have Mr. Favreau, we have our Deputy Supervisor, Mr. Douglas. That's right. You discussed.
I just dumped that on her.
And we have Mr. Farrow, our Highway Superintendent. We have Mr. Gwinnett, our Zoning and Building Officer. And we have Courtney Tatro, our Water Superintendent. We have Mr. Drolette, the man of all men, for our Dog Control Officer. We have Pamela Barber, that Town Hall wouldn't run without her, confidential secretary to the board. We have John Ryan, who keeps everybody in loop about the town. And we have Mr. and Mr. Bags. Welcome, everyone.
Guess that's
Good. Perfect at that.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Well, you said,
Mr. Back.
oh, yeah, Mr. Favreau, I got everybody.
Boy,
Roll
sorry
call.
about that. Thank you. All right, number 4, motion to approve the minutes of the town board regular meeting of May 30th, 2019. Mr. Langley. Second? Yep. Mr. Irwin. Okay. Motion discussing to accept the reports from all departments, water, sewer, Valtor, highway, town clerk, dog control, youth department, code zone, supervisor's report, court, website, JCEO, and banking report.
We don't have JC.
Sorry?
We don't have the JC.
Okay, we'll take that one now. Thank you, Mrs. Clark. Discussion.
I make the motion to accept the reports of the departments.
Mr. Langley.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Barber. Okay. All right. Okay. Next one, community input. Have somebody, I believe, signed up.
Bill Batts. We're going to talk about cemetery.
Yeah. Thank you. Bill Bags, it's cemetery care.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I'm looking actually to see if the town would give consideration to doing the cemetery care of the Bags Cemetery that is actually located on the corner of Jabaz Allen and Sullivan Road. Cemetery has been sort of an issue for many years, keeping it properly maintained. We did the past 2 or 3 years have a gentleman that was taking care of it. I noticed this year that there's no care at all been shown on that cemetery. I went to see him to see what was happening, and he's basically been in a vehicle accident. He broke a leg, broke an ankle, so he's not going to be up and about. I was looking to see if the town could assist in doing the mowing and upkeep of that cemetery.
Who owns it, Bill? Now, I mean, the cemetery, I mean, is there a cemetery association?
There is no cemetery, never has been a cemetery association that I am aware of. Basically, I tried to do a little research other than checking with the gentleman that was there. I went onto a website and looked at care and stuff, what was out there through the New York State Commission of Cemeteries. And it basically actually directed me to the town in stating that if a cemetery is declared abandoned, that it does fall under the rights of the town to maintain. It's really not a huge cemetery. The town is actually doing one that's on the corner of Bear Swamp Road and Jabaz Allen at this point. it's probably a little smaller than that cemetery.
Courtney, who owns that one there? I know you guys have always mowed that, the one on the Bear Swamp.
I don't believe anybody owns it. I believe Mr. Bags is correct, if it's an abandoned cemetery, I believe the town, I know we do 3 now. We do Lake Road, Bear Swamp, and Singer Road. Pretty much all we do is mow, pick up brush in the spring. We have mowed this cemetery before, I know a long time ago.
You have
I
mowed?
don't, I can't remember when it was a long time ago. It was like one season, I think we mowed it, and I'm not sure why.
Still have to look at it, I have no idea off the top of my head, I'm sure what you're saying is true, but we have to figure out who the last owner of record was. And figure out who's actually been in, so something's gonna take a little research, and we'll say, Bob, try to get parcel number or something.
It's right in somebody's yard, isn't it?
It is on the property of Pete and Mary Corral, and it is actually in their yard, way on the west side of their property. They mow all around it, and at one point, they were taking care of the cemetery. Then, like everything else, things change. They no longer done it, and then another individual had been there probably for the past 2 or 3 years. It is something that I sort of keep an eye on, and if I see that it's not mowed or whatever, I try to find out why. A couple of years ago, I did have a chat with Courtney, actually here, when it was a concern, but then this individual stepped up and said he would do it. And he has been doing it for at least 3 years.
Courtney, you said you have mowed it before.
I can remember a long time ago we did for one season, because I remember it's full of poison ivy.
And Courtney's probably correct on that, because at one point, my father used to mow that cemetery. And then when health conditions got so that he couldn't do it, he came to the town, and I think that's when Courtney is referring to, that the town did go down and mow it down there.
Bob is looking into it, Bill. I mean, as long as, my thing is that if, Matt says it's fine or whatever, I mean, we can discuss it, but I don't have that up to date timer. I mean, if we've done it and it's legal, we can all discuss it.
Is it owned by Helen Nerska and Cornelia Allen?
At one time it was.
Yeah, it still is. It still is. It's a 162-acre parcel. So it's when you're on Jabez Allen and you take a left on Sullivan's on the right. That one there.
If you're on Jabez Allen, well,
When you take a left on Sullivan, it's on the right.
No, it'd be on your left.
It'd be on your left.
yeah.
It's before Solid.
It's right on top of the riverbed.
Probably Bags then.
I know at one point, it wouldn't surprise me that Helen Durskott and her sister did own that property, because they own to the west of that. There's a ravine there and a brook and things there, but I don't think they own that any longer. I could be wrong.
Well, Bill, we'll certainly look into it.
And that's all I'm asking.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. We're up kicking there now, we can, all right, number 7, it was going to be a resolution and a discussion about setting a public hearing and date for the rezoning of the Dasna Road property. But since we printed this, Matt has had and Bob has had some conversations, and I'll let Bob and Matt present it to us.
So this has been discussed for a few months, and I know the board's aware. So on your map, and I'll try to do it up on this right here. This is a 20-acre parcel that's on the Dashnell Road, currently owned by Steve Fuller and Richard Nephew. So that's the parcel that was under consideration to change to a residential zoning district. And Matt and I had discussion, and he brings up a very good point. This is, in the planning board, when they considered it, they thought it was spot zoning also. And that is Matt's, he considers it this kind of a classic spot zoning. And he makes a very good point that if you do consider this, change the zoning district to residential, right now I add the layers up to show that it's commercial, so everything, this area here is the commercial zoning district. So, he thinks it would be proper if we essentially drew a line across this area here, and to make it, these parcels in the back, residential, then everything along the Bear Swamp Road would remain commercial, and it just makes better sense. Residential, and at some point, the town is fortunate enough to get some commercial, you're gonna have it back right up to the residential, so.
So part of that 20 acres will still remain commercial?
No, I think, no, because it's, Jim, their lot would be all residential. Essentially, the line would be about 300 feet. It would be, yeah, it's this big lot here.
I moved my eye on.
Yep, that's okay. So approximately 300 feet back would be, we could draw that line across that, which would remain, those parcels up front on the Bear Swamp would remain.
Yes, they probably should.
Yeah, yeah. Matt, you wanna add?
My concern was if we take this one parcel in question and make it residential, then you're surrounding it on all sides by commercial or industrial commercial. So you can allow a developer to maybe go in and put up townhouses or multifamily, and then allow like a Jiffy Lube or Sunoco to go in their backyard on those commercial districts. There's nothing we can do about it if they wanted to, because it would be zoned for that. Then you would have a developer or residents who are now into that housing saying, what are you doing? How are you letting this happen in my backyard? So the thought is allow Bear Swamp, that corridor, to stay commercial, but behind it, towards the north, I guess that is, and where this parcel would be, make that residential, or zone it residential, instead of something other than residential allowed and wanting to go in there, maybe a light commercial type of thing. We could at least, there'd be a variance process, we could look at that before. It's just an automatic given that they can go in behind all these new multifamily units. So it's a way to protect the intention of that property, and also protect the developer, who sounds like they're going to develop this into multifamily housing, not have them make this big investment and then be angry with what surrounds them in the future. So I wanted this board and the planning and zoning board to take a look at that idea, consider that before we move forward. There doesn't seem to be a huge rush to do this, but I think it's kind of a better thought to have more of a global plan going forward than just change this because of the requested use right now, rather than think about it long term. And we can split, so you can
That
have-
larger parcel, the owner of that, do they have any issue?
which one are you talking about? The one on the right?
The one that's gonna have the line through it?
This parcel here?
Yeah, we have to talk, we have to kind of get some input. So you can have one parcel can be in two different zones. That's what we would do to a couple of these parcels. Some of the same parcel would be a commercial zone, some would be a residential zone, which is allowed. At the top, we've got that anyway.
That one right there where the pointer is, that's Cortland.
That's
I
correct.
was wondering if that was.
Yeah, that's about a 17-acre parcel.
Yeah, because I remember when he gave us a right of way for the trail.
Trail.
Yeah, so to do any of that, obviously the owners of these properties are gonna get a letter, and anybody within probably 500 feet is gonna get a letter. So people would have the opportunity to come in and talk to the boards and kind of tell them their feelings about it. We could get some input, which I think is probably an important thing to do before we move forward on any of this. So that was my thought to just bring up before we did this, was to at least have that discussion with the current owners, the surrounding owners, and kind of get a feel for what everybody's looking for out of that property going forward.
Makes sense.
It makes sense to me, you guys. Now, yeah.
So
Yeah.
how far back,
I would
Are
take
we
the line,
speaking-
I would take the line that's farthest back now on the commercial, right about where you are, and just go straight to the
Right
west.
there?
saying right here?
Yeah, that makes the most sense to me.
Okay, so then, the residential district, are you guys looking to, this lot right here where the pointer is, this line, this lot is land hooked with this lot, which is Mike Sullivan's on the
That's
dash
the same parcel right now with two different zones in it.
Right, yep. Same parcel, two different zones, so it's land hook. This one goes with this parcel here.
So the east side of that parcel runs up against the northway, the
Yep.
west side runs up against residential. So the question would be,
Right.
do you want to leave that the way it is, or do you want to change it? to
So that's that IC district that was changed in the previous zoning, in the 13 zoning change. And it's restricted industrial, commercial, no residential. We just had the zoning board just heard a variance and granted a variance to a gentleman for an expansion, Mr. Harwood, for the Bear Swamp taxi variant, wanted to do an addition to his house, and he had to go through the zoning board because his district is located in the IC.
So my thought would be, see if we can take that small parcel to the west of the IC and make that residential also.
You're saying the one this one here?
Yeah, because it's to the north is residential, and then just south of it.
And this parcel is the Holderites. This bigger parcel is the Holderites here.
Okay, and is that landlocked? Is there a road that's there?
Well, he does come out onto, it does have a portion that comes out, wow, you're coming over to the plaza. Well, actually, this is
That's a sewer
Courtney's,
plant.
Courtney's the sewer plant here. But he does, this lot comes all the way over, and we might have, this might not be the current map, because he did come in and get a subdivision approval, or he took off about 5 or 6 acres behind the plaza.
Okay. Well, I'm just talking that small.
Right, I understand.
To the,
Sure. Yep, so this, essentially this one here.
These right there?
Yeah,
So
take that.
this, so we'll draw a line from here. So this would be this, and this, in the back portion of this lot too.
Yeah, that would be my thought.
Okay.
Consider doing that.
Okay, so I can get a map together and just do, okay.
Yeah, and then maybe we can get that new map together, send a letter to the planning and zoning board saying this is the thought, we want your recommendations and ready for this board, and then go from there.
Okay, all right.
Does that make sense, everybody?
Yep.
Okay, that's, because then, they would be upset if, you change that, and then, like you said, put in some.
At least this way gives everybody a couple months to get as much input from current owners and the surrounding property as possible.
Now, that one piece that belongs to Portland, that 17 acres, that doesn't take in that whole piece going across there, does it? No. You know, where he just said, where we're gonna draw
So
that street.
this is Cortland's
Yeah, right
lot
here.
here.
Yeah, right.
So if you draw a line here,
Right. Is that all Cortland?
that's all Cortland's.
So,
Yeah, that funky
okay.
triangular shape,
Right.
all they will cut it third.
Yeah.
Who's got that real narrow strip? How much road frontage does that one have?
Oh,
It's not much.
Does it
no.
have to do anything with?
There's a cabin on it.
Yeah, that's right, there's already a home on it.
It's in the front, right next
Well,
to
that's Quattrucci,
Right.
Okay.
Quattrucci. I don't know his first name.
Okay. So we'll certainly want, obviously, let's reach out to them too.
Okay.
It's 3.5 acres.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Matt, you're gonna work it with
Where's my
Bob?
father?
Yep.
It was?
Yeah.
Okay.
You belong to Bob?
Yeah. My great grandmother gave it to me.
All right, so we'll get that, we'll draw a new map and we'll work out a letter together to go towards it.
Color there, okay.
And then you can get back to us the next meeting and see where we are.
For sure.
You have a meeting between now and then the next.
Yep, planning board meeting Wednesday night and zoning board the following week.
So, we'll give
No
us a
problem.
little,
Yep.
put on their feelings out and stuff. Any other questions? No? Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, number 8. We have a resolution and a discussion to the approval of Casella's Organic Residue Management Service Agreement. I think it's pretty much the same as last year, same rate too, is it?
No, it's $5 more a wet ton, $71 last year.
So I need a motion.
I'll make it.
Mr. Barber. I'll second. Second by Mr. Irwin.
A resolution approving the town's sludge removal agreement with New England Waste Services of Maine Incorporated DBA Casellas Organics and authorizing the supervisor to execute the same. Whereas the town board has the agreement before it between the town of Peru and the News of Maine Incorporated for the removal of the town's sewer plant sludge at a base rate of $76 per wet ton. Residual is removed, therefore be it resolved said proposed agreement is approved and the supervisor being hereby is authorized to execute said agreement and be it resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately.
Any questions?
Mr. Barber?
Yes.
Mr. Irwin?
Yes.
Mr. Langley?
Yes.
Mr. Douglas?
Yes. Thank you. How often do they put that?
Usually once a year,
Once a year?
sometimes twice, depending on the
Depending
difference.
on- Thank you. Okay, next is a discussion on the youth commission background checks. Pam, thank you for getting this ready for us. As a liaison, Rick,
The background, as of today, everybody has put in for their background checks. There's 3 that haven't come back. Two coaches were done today, and there's one who was
Brad Clark?
Brad Clark hasn't come back yet. Everybody else is done.
I just asked Ann, because that's a total of 29.
Total on that
There
was
won't, I talked to John today, that there won't be any more. That's everybody.
5, I think I saw the bills, 565.
That was for 25.
That was $29 a piece, it was $536.50.
1850. And I'm not sure if that, I didn't have a chance to count up who's on the list. I'm not sure if that's 29, that was billed before the last few were done, so there should be maybe 4 or 5 more.
That should be the bulk of it from now on, and more to follow for another year.
And it seemed to be worked out fine, Pam, I mean, there was no,
Yeah.
Rick, as a liaison, you didn't hear any repercussions?
No.
I mean, the application or the screening, I'm sure it probably took 5 minutes for each person, so.
Got that done.
Matt, while we're doing this, we've got Charles Potash and Jim Buskey. Chuck is the police chief up in Saranac. Buskey is BCI investigator. Now, didn't you say before teachers as well as any law enforcement didn't have to do
Well,
this?
so what happens with teachers and law enforcement, my understanding is specifically teachers, their fingerprint, I'm sure law enforcement, fingerprints are on file, so if they get arrested, that employment agency is gonna get alerted, or it doesn't necessarily mean anybody else will.
Okay.
So, not that I think that's gonna happen with these people, but for example, if Mr. Pothouse gets arrested tomorrow, his employer's gonna know, we're gonna have no idea. So I would like everybody to do the check one time,
Okay.
just so we know what's out there as of that date, and then we can evaluate with teachers and law enforcement, people that are under these ongoing obligations, if we want to do that. The other thing we may want to do is people that are under ongoing obligations, like a teacher or law enforcement, is I could draft something they can sign and saying, you know, if I'm arrested and or if there's a hit on my fingerprints for some other reason that I am notified of, I will immediately notify the town. That'd be another way to not have to do these every year, but to kind of cover the town. So we get a list of those types of people also with employment like that would make sense. But I think having it already do it the first time is not a bad idea.
Okay.
Because we're not gonna hit, my understanding with this is, if Bob has one of these done tomorrow and 2 months down the road he gets arrested, we're not gonna know. It's a snapshot of time as of the day it gets done. It's not an ongoing monitoring, correct? Okay. Don't get arrested.
Why me?
It just makes the most sense.
Okay, one.
Most likely client to succeed.
Charges don't always stick, you know?
Rick?
No, we're good.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Ben. That was really. Okay, sewer collection project update. Courtney?
I think I haven't anything new since last week.
Did we get the sewer line fixed with the,
Not yet.
okay.
I'm in contact with NICEAG, they're getting crews up here. So, it will be fixed.
Okay.
Any questions for Gordon? Okay, discussion. New York State Comptroller offers a seminar for local officials. Everybody's got in your folder there, I believe I was looking at it, I believe it's July 13th.
July 11th?
July 11th, yep. Anybody there that would, kind of like to go, it's going over some, policies and procedures for managing your municipality and stuff. And, Pam, how soon do we have to let that everybody know? I haven't read this.
I'm not sure, it wasn't really safe, but I can
Yeah.
find out tomorrow.
Yeah, that'd be fine. I mean, and if anybody, we've got time, we've got, if anybody would like to go, just let us know. I
And
think
can we find
I,
out when it starts? What time?
Yeah, it's 9 a.m. Well,
that's
9
a
a.m.
welcome.
to 9:15 is the welcome, and it starts at 8:15.
It's from
Second
9 to
page.
4, but, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Second page.
Ah, that's what I can't find.
Yeah, right there.
Okay.
So Rick, actually, I mean, I know you work in the
Yeah.
morning, you're done and at noon. We could still sign up. I mean, one of the important things here is that 1:30 to 2:45 is the policy and procedure for managing, I mean, they're all important, but maybe even if you could, want to catch just half of it.
Mhm.
I'm going to. No, it's here.
It's in the town of Plattsburgh.
Plattsburgh. So can you find out, Pam, when we gotta let them know? I'd like to go, Rick, even if we go for a half day and now and whatever. Randy, if he's recuperated, he probably, for you, people that don't know Randy.
He will be
has-
recuperated by a month, please.
Come on.
Yeah.
You got that, John? Randy's still out. He had some more work done on his shoulder, and I just got a text from him today, and he's really in a lot of pain. But, Mike, you want to add to that there?
And not a big deal.
Turn the camera a little bit so we can see that.
Same surgery.
So we
So are
can
you saying he's milking you a little bit?
get that on, John, as soon as you can, so we can get it. Thank you. Any other questions on that? Okay, we're down to other business. We'll start with Mr. Butler.
I'm good.
Start with Mr. Irwin.
Nothing.
Mr. Green. I don't have the thing to myself, so the only thing is we could have comments on agenda items only. John, you have anything?
No. Courtney's guys were putting blue tags on Oakdale Drive earlier, a few days ago. People were asking about that.
Yeah, we had we're required to locate our utilities when a contractor puts in a dig safe ticket. And
Oh.
Verizon put in one for that whole area. So we have to locate our
No.
utilities so they don't hope not to hit them.
Bill, you have any, I just talked to Matt too, what we're gonna have to do with that property is we have to get, well, Matt. you want to-
I mean, yeah, it appears that the cemetery is on privately owned property, so if the town's gonna do anything, the homeowner's gonna have to write a letter to the town saying it's okay, and we'll probably have to sign.
Did you want me to do that?
Well, if you could reach out to them and see if they would like the town to do this, then we'll figure out the legalities about doing it.
I can do
And then they're
that.
gonna have to sign, some releases for the town to go on their property and that kind of stuff.
I'll be glad to do
All right,
that.
so if you just if they're okay with it, let me know and I'll take it from there. Or let somebody here know they can contact you, please.
That's fine, thank you.
Thank you.
You go?
Yep.
Thank you. Any other business? Okay, we want to start with Bob.
Busy.
Yeah, let Matt do it.
We'll go with Bob first, right?
Oh. You want to give your report?
No. I heard, I can speak for myself.
Well, you weren't here last
Busy,
time. I want to
busy.
make sure everybody knew.
Busy.
Mr. Fabro. So, just, building permits are up, from last year. And we have some busy agendas coming up for both the planning board and zoning board meetings next 2 weeks, so. That's all I have.
Update on Stewart's anymore?
Stewart's, is, we expect an application by the end of the week so they can make the agenda for the July meeting. I understand that now, DOT will not work with Stewart's to provide a four-way stop there. I actually learned that last week, and that's where we're at. But I said, I spoke to Grandy about it quickly and said, you know, maybe a call to Billy Jones's office or something, just to say. But Mike and I spoke on it today, and it is a terrible spot for, you know, what could work there, I don't know. But I
DOT
mean,
won't allow it to change, or they won't?
the DOT is not gonna allow them to put in they want to keep it as is, essentially. The driveways as they are, and so their hands are tied, and you're dealing with the DOT office out of Watertown, so,
Have they
but
said
that's not
before-
gonna change. Stewart's is still gonna do what they're gonna do, and they'll just do the engineering as such, but, you know.
Had they said before that they would do it, or DOT was the?
The conversation that Chuck Marshall had was that they would listen to Stewart's plan and that they would consider it. But now as they considered it, they're gonna say they wanna keep it as is.
They don't have a reason?
No, I haven't talked to, no, John, I don't know.
It's outrageous.
What's that?
Scott Doctor, is he gone now? Did he retire?
Somebody got done, I'm not sure, but I had accepted that. This was brought up years ago when I was on the zoning board. And I can understand DOT's thinking here, because if you've been at that Stewart's, and say you're coming from the bridge or whatever, within, I don't think it'd be 30 seconds, you're gonna be backed up with a four-way past the Bend, North Bend. So it's a problem intersection. I had brought up years ago, it's the only way that probably even cure it, but nobody would be happy, is Maiden Lane going in would be one way to just the four corners of Locust, and then you could go anyway, but nobody's gonna be happy with that. That's only gonna relieve some of the traffic. So I can understand DOT's, there's a lot of traffic there, it don't, regardless what you do, it's either gonna back up there, or on 22, or Maiden Lane. It's just, I can understand what they're thinking.
Is a rotary something that they were considering?
I don't know if you'd have enough room.
Are we creating a bigger issue?
The unfortunate thing is the town, being a state road, the town really doesn't have any say.
Yeah.
You know,
When they fixed the river road, they said you can do whatever you want behind it. But don't touch the curve or the angle or any of that.
Yeah.
And that was our Esco that designed that whole thing. And
Sure.
the one part that was left is in front of the old Ryan house. They didn't touch that. It just became ignored. But that was the only way that they saw that they could fix it. But they offered men and machines and equipment, but they didn't, you couldn't change the actual anything. And you know, they had fatalities and they had severe accidents there. I mean, the postman drove right off the corner and hit the telephone pole and died right back. And Orville's almost lost his whole family there to the guy in the Trans Am. And that was like the final one that they said, yeah, you can go ahead and fix it. But, you know, to get the traffic light at the end of Bear Swamp Road, it didn't change anything. The only thing was is that a tractor trailer was going around it at the time, and I said, you tell me when you think that he can see the oncoming
Right.
traffic.
Right.
He was all the way
Yeah, well,
before he could see. So at that time, there's only 2 companies in the United States, I guess, that make a traffic light. And at that time, that one was $65,000. So, yeah.
But just to answer Bill's,
No.
we'll have an application for the end of the month to complete with the, so the planning board can hear it in their July meeting. That's what I understand.
Good.
Okay.
Anything else? Mike?
Good.
Yeah. Courtney?
I'm good.
Pamela? Dave?
I'll give my time to Bob, let him talk. Really good. I got,
No, you're good, Jimmy?
I got Bob and Brandy going up to the adult census for me, so I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Touche. There's a lot of love here. I can see that. Okay.
Can I ask, we had public comments before other, this business about not being able to challenge the state, just as a citizen, makes my blood boil. They have unanswerable bureaucrats there. I don't think we should, I don't know the right answer to this, but I don't think we should lie down every time the state says something. They've got to be accountable to somebody. And plus, why do we have a state senator and an assembly person? I think they should be there to help us. Just because it just makes my blood totally boil. And I get news releases from Watertown all the time. They do about 500 times more work up around Watertown than they do around here. I see nothing done around here. And almost every day, well, that's exaggerating, once a week I get a news release on state roads being worked around Watertown. Please do not lie down to these unanswerable bureaucrats.
I mean, we had said, John, that we would call Bill and ask him, and I know, I mean, they say it's cast in stone, and Jimmy, what were you gonna add to that? I think you said that.
It's because of the days that they get so much attention.
Right, possibly. But I've heard this attitude for a long time. The state says it, so we got to say, we can't say anything.
We have a gentleman that moved here from Watertown because he got tired of the base dictating everything that occurred in Watertown. And the school system was the reason why he wanted his child here. So,
What's that?
it's kind of like that it is.
But it shouldn't always just fall to the town to do too. I mean, if they hear from their constituents and not just
Well,
leave it up to the town to do.
The state has projects that they want to do. I'm going to give you the unedited version. So, you are correct as far as, you would not have the connector road if Ron Stafford hadn't told DOT, you're going to put $3 million in. Then when that wasn't enough, they were 3 points on short or whatever. So the county had to pony up. And that was a mathematical equation because we would have had to redo all the Cumberland Head Road and the spur. So the money that would have been paid for that, we offered it to the state to do it and the in-kind service that the county would do the work. And Ron made the phone call, the difference of 1.5 or whatever, that's where it's going to go. Well, it wasn't, if you remember, the senator died. Betty Will became the senator, Gary Babiak, I'll say his name, I don't care. He was the commissioner at the time. We keep having meetings upon meetings upon meetings, but it's like, how come things aren't going? Well, Betty just happened to be in town one day when they were having a meeting. I told her she didn't really have to do anything. You just got to walk in the room and make Gary say, oh, this is what we really want to do, whatever. And so she walked in the room and, oh, gee, state senator's here now. She says, I just want to, this is important. I want to make sure that this moves through. And, oh, yes. She goes, so then what's your timetable? We said, well, it wasn't worked out. So a certain somebody who used to work for the senator used to say that sometimes the bureaucrats forget who they work for, and the bureaucrats really work for the assembly people like the senator because they're the representatives of their constituency. They're not a representative of they don't have a constituency. They have an employer, period. That's us, who indirectly really has no bearing on telling them what to do. So until your government people, like you say, no, we're here and this is what we want, does it really occur?
Well, this is slightly different, but DiNapoli has, I thought, done a great job as state controller, and he tried to keep people informed. Now, and he gave a weekly report on all the audits done on local, municipal, schools. It's suddenly disappeared. I can't find it. Looks like our dear governor has put the hammer down on him, perhaps. So the corruption in Albany is unbelievable.
Let's look at it.
Maybe you're getting them, but look for the website. I don't find them.
Yeah,
They don't get along.
I should get that, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do too.
Can you?
No, maybe I'm wrong, but I looked the other day on DiNapoli's
No.
website, and it seemed like the governor had taken it over.
No, we still get it, John, make sure that we can make sure that we can send it to, yeah, but we still get it. John,
You get what?
from this,
From the
his report.
You get a
all the
report?
audits. Yeah.
You don't have to take it off the air or off the internet?
No,
Yeah, I don't get it. I have to look it up.
you can see it, you get it. Sure, thank you, John. Yeah. Okay, all set? Okay.
Mike, any more problems up on the back?
No, no.
It's okay.
Everything's kind of stable.
How's that road looking?
It's there.
Yeah.
It's not.
You get a 1-inch plate over bad spots. I shall hold the tractor trailers,
I see that.
but it's gonna take some design and get the permits. I can't even order the culvert until we know what they're gonna approve, so, and we'll have to bid it, 'cause it's gonna be an hour.
Where is that time?
But it's gonna be late.
Late as in.
Well, that's why I would order it when it first happened. They were talking late fall. I mean, there's only 3 companies, so. I mean, there's 2 others that maybe their schedule's a little bit better, but we're in full construction season. So until we have a design, I can't even really do anything.
No grants in sight for that, or?
I haven't looked at, it was better than the kids the last couple of weeks, so.
Okay, a resolution and a motion to pay the bills.
Motion to pay the bills.
Mr. Langley.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Irwin.
A resolution authorizing the post-audit payment of certain claims, bills, and invoices of the town. Whereas the town board has reviewed and audited the following claims, bills, and invoices for services rendered, and goods provided to the town in May 2019. From town approved vouchers in the first part of May 2019, 2019-000710 through and including 2019-000758, abstract dated 6/10/2019, for the dollar amount totaling $75,674.58. Of that, $10,951.19 was wired to credit cards and prepaid, and $64,723.39 is remaining to be paid. Whereas the town board finds said claims, bills, and invoices to be acceptable in form and feasible in amount. Now therefore, be it resolved that payment of the aforementioned claims, bills, and invoices is approved, and the supervisor being hereby is authorized to make such payment, and be it further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Barber?
Yes.
Mr. Irwin?
Yes.
Mr. Langley?
Yes.
Mr. Douglas?
Yes. Okay, motion to adjourn. Well, let's go around. You have any? No, we're all good. Okay, let's make a motion to adjourn.
Make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.